Hi guys, welcome to Cardz TV. I've got a quick tip for you today. A viewer asked me about how I colored the pumpkins on this little tissue box that I made in my last video. And I used big markers. They're very inexpensive. I got 36 in all these colors for like $24 on Amazon. And of course, they're not the same as Copics. They are alcohol markers, however, like Copic or some of the other more expensive markers. And of course, you're not going to get the same kind of tip on them. You can get these in a fine tip and an ultra fine tip, but you do get all these colors, and for quick things like these little pumpkins that don't need a lot of shading, they're perfect. Now, you don't have the variations in shading like you would with a Copic marker, but if you look closely, like, let's see, the two I used on my pumpkin, and you can't go by the color on the cap either, guys. You need to do a swatch because the colors are darker than they are on the caps. But these are the two that I used for the pumpkin. They're close in tone, and the lighter one I used for the orange part of the pumpkin, and then this one I used to do the shading. And I didn't do a lot of shading at all. It was just really quick, and I love the way they turned out. So for things like that, these are perfect. Now, if you're going to be doing a stamp that's got lots of detail to it, of course you'd want to use a different type of marker. I'm going to move these out of the way. I first want to show you two, though. You've got greens, and if you look, there's always like two that you could put together, a lighter and a darker. There it is in the green. In like these lilacs. Here's two lilacs, a lighter and a darker that you could do for your shading. These two browns would work really well for shading. So if you just go and get your colors together and then pick out the two that are closest in tone, that would give you a lighter color and then like a medium shade, a little bit darker, it'll work for you every time. So let me get these out of the way. I'm going to stamp a pumpkin and show you real quickly how I colored that, and you can see how they work for things like the little pumpkin and things that aren't really detailed. Now I've got some 110 pound weight cardstock. This is just Georgia Pacific from Walmart. It works really well for stamping and coloring. We're going to stamp with Memento Tuxedo Black ink because it works great with alcohol markers. And we're going to use the little pumpkin from the Cardz TV Fall Fun stamp set. And I'm going to go ahead and ink up my stamp. And I've picked out three markers. I've got honey brown for the stem, and for the shading I've got adobe orange, and for the main part of the pumpkin I've got summer melon. And I'm going to do a swatch over to the side so you can see those colors before I start coloring the pumpkin. Now this is the main part that the pumpkin's going to be, and this is summer melon, and you can see it is nowhere near the color of the cap. So that's why you need to do a swatch. This is the adobe orange that I'll use for the shading. It's darker, but it's still in that same tone. And then the honey brown, which is a medium brown, is going to be the stem on the top. And the first thing I do, I go ahead and I lay down a base of the summer melon. And I'm not real careful with this because I'm going to cut it out. And please excuse my table shaking. I know it shakes when I color. And you can see I'm just going to go ahead and lay down that base. And I'm kind of going in little circles. And one thing about these markers, it all evens out as it dries, so you don't have to worry about streaks. And this is real easy to cut out too. I just use my Cutter Bee scissors and it works great. Okay, there's my base in the summer melon. Now, I'm not going to do much shading at all. I'm just going to take the Adobe Orange and I'm just going to follow that outside line all the way down. And then I'll start here, do the next line. This is all the shading that I did on the pumpkins on the tissue box. And it goes very quickly. And I cut out 9 pumpkins, and it didn't take me much time at all. Okay, there's all the shading I'm going to do. And I'm going to go ahead and do that brown for the stem. And I didn't do any shading at all on this because it's just a really small area. Now I'm going to go back with the summer melon. And I'm just going to go in circles and blend in that Adobe Orange. And as this dries, it just all kind of comes together. And I did go over it about 3 times with the summer melon. But you can already see how it's blending. It just softens the edges of the Adobe Orange and gives just some shadow and shading to the outside of your pumpkin. There we go. That's all I did. Let me zoom you in just a little bit. You can see that better. So you can see the Bics work great for this. And then there's the one that I did, or the 3 that I did for the little tissue box. You can see they look just like it. So there you go, guys. You don't need really expensive markers when you're going to be doing something simple like this. Just get some Bics and have some fun. Thank you so much for coming by today, guys. I hope you had fun and I hope this was helpful. And I'll see you again soon. Bye now.